Hello, everybody, and welcome to our ReelQuick episode 18. This is going to be our Patreon-sponsored throwback review. This is our third time trying to record this intro, so let's hope I get it right this time. Shout out to Tobias Johnson for the suggestion of The Sound of Metal. It's an absolutely incredible movie. I'm glad. I know George and I have it at a 5 out of 5. It was a rewatch for us. I believe Tyler, it was a rewatch for you. And Seth, this is your first time watching it. So it's an incredible movie. Wanted to pick something I'd seen before, to be quite honest with you. We've done two that I had not. Wanted to get into the movie a little bit more with something I'd seen. And I also needed a rewatch for this. So I appreciate Tobias Johnson for recommending this movie because it's absolutely incredible. If you do not know, this is a Prime original about a heavy metal drummer's life is turned upside down when he begins to lose his hearing, and he must confront a future filled with silence. So this is obviously Riz Ahmed in the main role. He's a drummer, like the synopsis says. He starts to lose his hearing. He joins just for a real quick run through, he joins a deaf community at a church. They are 100% accepting of their deafness. They kind of they just want their deafness to not be a setback for them, but they don't see it as a disability. They don't see it as a disability. That's more what I meant. Thank you, Seth. So Riz Ahmed, obviously, he does not want to be deaf. He ends up getting cochlear implants. That's kind of the movie, how it plays out for him. Olivia Cooke is in this. I completely forgot about that. Obviously, star of House of the Dragon, the second half of the season, I guess, not technically the full season. She plays Lou, his love interest. Fun little note, Lauren Ridloff also in this, who just played Makari in The Eternals. So that, I saw her and was like, oh shit, I know who that is now. So that's always fun. We'll start with Seth. It was your first watch. What'd you think of it, man?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those films, we've always got those blind spots which you have, a film just sat on your watch list for ages and you don't know why you've not watched it. This was kind of mine for me. It was great. It was really, I get the 4.5 out of 5. I think it was just genuinely fantastic in every way on, acceptance, addiction, and him just kind of finding peace with his newfound life, I guess. I think it was a film of on what I haven't seen in terms of the way it used sound. By the way, it kind of transitions from his point of view to Jerry Eagle's point of view and what he sees, and I think it was amazing. We touched on this before recording, but the final shot, we'll go into it, but the final shot is just incredible. It had me in awe.
That's one of my favorite endings to a movie, and I forgot about it, man.
It was truly it's just a truly visceral, beautiful film. It's powerful. The Riz Ahmed, I completely understand what people are talking about when they say the acting. His performance is amazing as it was. Olivia Cooke was also fantastic. I think everyone in this film was really, really good. What was his name? The guy,
Paul Raci.
Yeah, he was great as well. And I just think that it was a beautiful film on just acceptance and finding peace. And yeah, obviously we'll go into spoilers, so I won't mention anything now. But I just think it was. This is probably a film for me that on another watch could probably go to a 5. I think this was great. I can't really think of anything I didn't like. And Cam, it did make me cry because Cam said it definitely wouldn't make me cry, and it did.
This movie, and I watched it like I said, I'm dead inside. I don't always, I don't cry at movies apparently. So sorry. This movie is listed as hopeful or something in Prime Video, which it is. But I don't know if I would put that as its
the end. The
main.
It
ends on a hopeful ending, but I don't know if I would put that as the main genre in, if that's what we're listing it as.
Yeah, I guess so.
But so I was like, I don't think Seth will cry. It's got a happy ending, and I forgot the rest of the movie outside of the happy ending is just depressing as hell. So
it's when he's with the kids and stuff like that. It just made me you know what I mean? It's just nice.
How easy. Tyler, what are your thoughts? I know you gave it a 4.5. Is it sitting there still?
It didn't go quite up to a 5. Not really for any particular reason. Just I just think 4.5 is where I landed on it, and I feel comfortable with that. I gave it a 9.2 out of 10. But yeah, this is my rewatch of it. First time I watched it was last summer, so it's been almost a year. Just a fantastic film. The sound design is easy to stand out for me. Just incredible use of sound and so interesting, kind of like how Coda used it as well. You see it from different perspectives and points of view, which makes for a really interesting back and forth throughout the movie. And then Riz Ahmed, of course, just absolutely Oscar worthy. However, Anthony Hopkins for The Father is just so damn good that I still think he deserved to win it. But Riz Ahmed's a clear favorite.
Was it a 2020 movie?
Yeah, it says 2019 on
It
Letterboxd, but he went
released on Prime in 2020.
Yeah,
and
it's a film festival movie.
He went up against Anthony Hopkins for Best Actor. They were both nominated, and Anthony Hopkins won it for The Father. But yeah, Riz Ahmed absolutely earned that Oscar nomination and then some. And pretty much everything Seth said. Like, I loved how this kind of went through like the stages of grief. He was denying it the longest time, kind of pushed it out the whole time. He's like, you know what? Like, no, like, I don't need to worry about being in this accepting community. I'll go through the motions, whatever, but I'm getting this transplant and I'm going to be fine. Like, I'll do these steps, whatever, make people happy, go through it. But once I get this implant, like, my life's set, we're back on track, everything's going to be good. And things don't really quite go as planned. And the way it handles that is just, I just think it's just brilliant. It's raw. It's emotional. Very great film.
Yeah. George, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this has been an easy 5 out of 5 for me for such a long time, and a big reason of that is one, Riz Ahmed, and two, that final shot is just one of those final shots in film that has just stuck with me and has just left like such a mark on me since I watched it. I had no idea what this movie was. I was literally one night just like scrolling through Prime, and I was like, "What the fuck can I watch?" And I tossed it on because the only other Riz Ahmed outing that I was aware of was Nightcrawler, Venom, and then the HBO Max limited series, The Night Of. If you guys haven't seen it, you really should.
Watch Four Lions.
Yeah,
that too. So I popped it on, and I was just like in my bed watching this on my laptop, and I was just like in awe of what I was watching. This is we touched on it a little bit when we were going through our 10 favorites, that ReelQuick episode on like the obsessed artist, which is just like such a very niche genre of film that I just love. But this one is just presented in such like a different way, where it's like you watch something like Whiplash, and it's like Andrew Neiman, Miles Teller's character, he's doing everything he can to like be the best at what he does, whereas this is a movie about a guy who's doing everything he can to not lose what he loves. And I think that's just such an interesting take on this, like, you know, obsessed artist like subgenre of film. Such an easy 5 out of 5. Don't take this too personally and take it with a grain of salt. I haven't seen The Father, so Riz Ahmed would have been my pick for Best Actor. But obviously, I trust you guys in the fact that I'm sure
I do think that could probably change when you do watch The Father.
Yeah, I'm sure it might change, but just again, I haven't seen The Father, so of all the nominees that year, I know Chadwick Boseman, you know, rest in peace. He was like the.
Did he get nominated?
Yeah, he was the favorite going into it for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but I still would take Riz Ahmed over Chadwick Boseman for Sound of Metal. But yeah, overall, this is a 5 out of 5. It's very high on my 2020s decade ranked right now. I think it's sitting like just outside the top 5. I love this movie. Yeah, I love this movie so much. I'm happy we picked it as this ReelQuick episode, because I was due for a rewatch, because every time I saw that 5 out of 5, I'm like, oh, maybe that was, recency bias, but no, it held up. It is so fucking powerful, and that final shot, my goodness.
So yeah, I have seen The Father. Anthony Hopkins is probably number one, but it's be like I don't know, man. I would give it to Riz Ahmed as well. It's one of those where I think they both did
1A, 1B.
One man, yeah, exactly, man. It's two great performances. This is my best movie of 2020. Yep. Just beating out Soul, which is, got to mention it every episode,
Although when you need Soul for a draft, you forget it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll never forget it again. This is one of those, and we're not doing a spoilers section. This entire movie is, there's not really anything to spoil.
There's nothing crazy to spoil here. Well, maybe that final shot. Yeah, maybe
why that final shot happens.
We're gonna talk through the movie. But this is one of those things. So obviously, I mentioned it. He's a drummer, loses his hearing, is in this deaf community. They don't accept cochlear implants. And it's something he's dead set on. So he sells all of his drumming equipment, sells his car, or his RV.
This is after he's been there for a while.
He's been there for a while.
He works in the school, connected with everyone.
Yeah, it's not like he's been there for 5 minutes. Yeah, this is like most of the movie, and sells everything, and he's like, still, I'm dead set on getting these cochlear implants and getting back with his girlfriend Lou. That's all he wants, and it's so heartbreaking, because I have a friend whose brother has cochlear implants, and he can hear, I can talk to him, so I never thought of what it sounds like, and then I didn't know, and I'm interested, and I assume this is pretty damn close,
No, apparently I did some research. Yeah, apparently it's actually
exactly. So like, when he puts him in, he's all excited to get his hearing back, and it's muffled, it's staticky, it's distorted. But
he has to keep changing it, don't they?
Yeah, but he can hear, and so you can hear, and it's one of those things. Like I watched the first hour and 30 minutes by myself, and then like Emma like came down, or we were doing something, and I watched the last 20 minutes. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, well, you're kind of seeing it from his point of view of what he's hearing. So he's at this party with Lou after they've reconnected, and it's just so much input coming in. It's like, and then when he's listening to her and is that her dad? And it's just like, they used to be in a band, and it's just like, it's not the same, obviously. And that's just such a heartbreaking like thing to witness, even though like, I don't know this person, but like the way his performance is so damn good. And it's just like perfect for like the sound editing that they go from his audio back to normal audio. And sometimes they cut from like normal audio into the silence that he hears when and it's just, God, I really love this movie, man.
The bit that was really sad for me is when he is with the doctor when they've just done the surgery, and then he's having to keep saying, this doesn't sound right, this sounds weird, whatever. Yeah. She has to keep changing, and then she tells me at the end, she's like, you're not going to hear how you used to hear. You have to get used to a different way of hearing. And you kind of see his face drop because he's kind of seeing it as this thing where his hearing's going to come back, but that's not, how it works. And that was really sad to me. I just think it was caring, and it was like a sympathized film, which is just a beautiful way of showcasing, like Cam said, I didn't know that's what it sounded like. You know what I mean? Well, I didn't know that's what it was like. And I think it's a really good way of showing that by showing the points of views and showing how it actually affects people in their day-to-day life, I guess.
Yeah, the sound design on like the hearing aid that he has reminds me of like any movie where like someone gets like a gunshot right in their ear, and then you hear like the small. It's like a very like calm attention to detail that I absolutely respect, and this movie just carries it from beginning to end. It also reminded me, and this is just because it's in my head right now, the panic attack scene in Puss in Boots when Pepito was talking to him, and it's very muffled, like it's very like from the perspective of someone who's having a panic attack. It's like that's just such a small attention to detail that I absolutely respected in the movie. And this Sound of Metal had like this opportunity. It's a movie about a drummer who's losing his hearing and has his hearing aid. They just carried it across the entire film, and I think that added so much to like. One, his character, because he's like, oh, this isn't as great as it should be. Like, I'm not hearing clearly. If anything, this is making my life worse. It's giving me a headache. And that leads into that final shot, obviously, which we'll talk about a little later. But the sound design on this movie was just glorious because it really puts you in the shoes of Riz Ahmed's character and really understands, like, okay, this is like he starts off as a drummer who can hear. He very slowly loses his hearing, and then he gets the hearing aid, and then he turns it off, blah, blah, blah. And you go through this process with him. And I think that just makes this like not an interactive movie, but it really lets you like connect with this character as best as we can.
Yeah. And I don't know, Tyler or anyone can, if we just want to go into the final shot, the final scene of the movie, we can, unless
sure.
anyone has any other points.
I guess one other thing I was going to say is we were talking about how like you see from his perspective of what it sounds like with the cochlear implants, but I'm pretty sure that's not everyone's case. Like it takes to different people differently. Some people get them some people get them and can hear very well, and that's kind of what I thought they kind of hit on that in the movie where they were like saying like, this isn't a sure thing that it's going to like fully work on you.
I knew that. I just didn't know. I didn't know if that was like what people
always
hear.
The case if it happens.
Yeah, I didn't.
I think in terms of like the effectiveness, like what they're showing with Riz Ahmed, it was pretty low on the scale of like how well it can improve your hearing overall.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I haven't done any research like into them, so I'm glad you brought that. Final shot, Seth, thoughts, or just explain it maybe.
It was so obviously the final shot is him, and he's like, "Where are they? Is it in Paris? Where are they?"
Yeah, I think he's just in a city square in Paris or something.
Paris, it is in Paris. Yeah. And he's just in city square, and there's so much going on. There's kids playing on the skateboard. What is there around him? Like buses,
the bell is
bells,
banging every 10 seconds.
And then obviously the frequency in his ears, and he's just and then basically he just grabs it, rips off, throws it on the floor, and the final shot is just a completely silent shot of his face just looking out in the distance for probably about 2 to 3 minutes, and it's just clearly him accepting this isn't disability, this is just my life now, and coming to terms with it and finding peace with it.
Yeah,
and I just think that was that final shot was just, it was perfect. It ended off the film perfectly. The whole theme of the film that's the outcome that we needed to see. That's how they wanted to.
And there are a lot of movies, that it's not. I don't want it to be that extreme, but like if you think of Babylon, this, you think of Brad Pitt, his life is ruined, and he, or not ruined, he just can't act anymore, and that's all he wanted, or whatever, and he kills himself, and I know a lot of movies almost try to go to that extreme sometimes, and it's nice to get a hopeful ending, almost like a coming of age movie where like not everything's going to be perfect, but he's come to peace with his life a little bit, that his life's not over. He's just has this change to it, and he unfortunately can't hear, so he's going to have to do some different things in order to fulfill his life. And so that's always I like to see a hopeful ending. It brings me a little bit more joy.
Nice now and again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was just a really nice like full circle on Seth mentioned the stages of grief where he's like, well, what are they? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. Like it's just this like full circle of like this guy and this journey that he goes on. And like, what is it in the movie? It's like a couple months maybe that he goes through, maybe not even.
I'd probably.
I'd say like
either way, it's like a really like. It's a very simple but really powerful and beautiful conclusion to this guy's like journey. Like it's just of accepting like this is his life now. And like I said, it's just one of those endings where I have not like that's the standout part of the movie. And when you can end off on such a high note, you're a great movie in my eyes.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree.
It's a similar ending, not the same, but it's similar to ready for this? Soul. when he walks out and he doesn't know what he's going to do with his life, but he's going to live. It's a hopeful ending. And so my two 2020 best pictures or best movies are hopeful endings. So proud of that.
Which one do you have ranked higher? Did you say that?
Sound of Metal.
Okay.
Yeah, it's my highest rated of this.
Where's The Father on yours then? It's not top 3.
So Sound of Metal. No, it's top 3.
Okay.
He just cut out, but
you muted for a hot sec.
Actually, it's my fourth. It's my fourth. I don't really have like
another round, maybe.
The Father, no. So Sound of Metal, Soul, Promising Young Woman, and then The Father. But I don't really have like The Father or Promising Young Woman rated or ranked. They're just the same ranking, and Promising Young Woman comes first, I guess. Which I don't know. I'd be okay with that. I really do like that movie. But yeah, it's up there, Seth. It's still a 5-star. 2020, not a bad year for how shitty of a year it was. Any other points on Sound of Metal? Any other? I do have my fun facts, but
go for your fun facts.
Please,
well,
I cannot wait.
I have that fun fact I tweeted last night. Where is this another Riz Ahmed? So it's another Riz Ahmed movie where he has his dream job taken away from him, and also has a partner named Lou.
Yeah, I did like that tweet.
Nightcrawler.
The title, I know you. Yeah.
I think
Sound of Metal for me.
I think I have both of them out of 97 out of 100. Sorry, if you see me looking off screen, I'm watching my son. He's being cute right now.
I'm watching you. You're being cute right now.
Well, thank you, sir. All right, so Riz Ahmed, he did learn like ASL, and then he spent like 6 months learning the drums for this film. So that's always good when they fully submerge themselves into the role. Paul Raci is not deaf, but his parents were, so he's a prominent figure in the Coda community. Obviously, Coda made a movie about it in
was he in Coda?
I don't think so.
Was he what?
Was Paul Raci in
Coda?
Oh,
I don't think he was.
But what's Coda about?
So Coda stands for Child of Deaf Adults. So your parents are deaf, but the daughter in Coda is not actually deaf. So oftentimes, she has to be like not a translator for a lot of times. So I know it's like a big impact on the family. I don't know if Paul Raci was in it. I don't think so. And I'm not going to pull up the cast right now. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very good movie. I am a sucker, I think, for maybe just like the sound editing of like, transitioning from the silence to back to like the sound, because I love it in Coda as well. So there are a couple other things like this is Darius Martyr's directorial debut. We see a lot of great directorial debuts recently.
Has he had anything else come out since this?
I don't think so.
I can look
I'm not
up for you.
mistaken.
It's been long enough to where I feel like a movie should have.
Yeah, I feel like he should have something, right? No, he's got. What is he on the Place Beyond the Pines? Maybe he's a.
I think he was a writer on the Place Beyond the Pines.
Pines. So this is his directorial debut. The whole film was shot in chronological order, which is honestly pretty impressive. Like, that's very rare for a
rarely
movie.
happens.
They mostly just fit people into schedules and shoot the scenes they can. Another cool thing that Riz Ahmed did is he would wear like plugs or whatever in order to not hear. He said it was pretty tough getting around. He said it's hard not hearing your cast, but you have to play off them learning ASL. The most disappointing part was that I couldn't hear the prominent ticking noise that happened every 1.25 seconds in order to signify 7 years of it. So that was what he said.
Oh my God, you're the worst.
Let's just end it.
Classic. If he was gonna wear earplugs, he should have done that while he was drumming. Would have solved a lot of issues for him.
Yeah. And then lastly, Olivia Cook wrote the song that they play at the very start of the movie. So that's quite impressive.
Don't know if that's a pro or a con, to be honest.
What? You didn't like that?
I mean,
it's like death metal, but I like it in the sense of the movie. Like, I don't like it, but
it was very much like somebody I used to know to me, where the lyrics were not great.
That's fair. It also this is worth noting. This isn't a fun fact. I've seen it online a bunch. Like, The Sound of Metal obviously is obviously related to the drumming, the sound of like metal music, but also the sound of his cochlear implant now that he's hearing. And then another point in the movie, like with that slide that they're playing on, when he can finally hear that. Dude, I love that scene. Yeah, the vibrating sound of the slide is obviously metal. So there are a lot of nods to like sound of metal, right? So that's always nice to get little tidbits in the movie. Any other points?
Great movie.
I'll come back next week for my next prominent ticking. That's all I provide to this podcast. Fantastic movie. A 5 out of 5, 97 out of 100 for me. 5 out of 5 for George. A 9.2 out of 10 for Tyler for a 4.5 out of 5, and Seth a 4.5 out of 5. Hopefully we get after. I'm gonna make you guys rewatch this until it
could honestly
to the ReelTok collection. It's close. But that's all right. It's a fantastic movie. If you have not watched it, it is free on Prime Original. Thank you again to Tobias Johnson for suggesting this movie. We do appreciate all the support in the Patreon. Like, it's absolutely insane. If you do want to help us out, you are more than welcome to go to our bio and put in any sort of pledge for the Patreon. We think we do a good amount for the perks we provide. Hopefully you guys notice it as well. Thank you everyone for coming.